Chicago is one of America's greatest cities, a place of jaw-dropping architecture, world-class museums, deep dish pizza, and a spectacular lakefront that surprises almost every first-time visitor. Before you book anything, here is everything you actually need to know, covering getting around, the best areas to stay, safety, real costs, the best time to visit, and the mistakes first-timers keep making. From the mirrored bean in Millennium Park to the Willis Tower Skydeck, the river architecture cruise, and the beaches along Lake Michigan, Chicago packs an incredible amount into a walkable downtown. Save this video before you start booking flights, because we are answering the questions people actually search before they land in Chicago. Let us start with getting around, because this is good news for first-timers. Chicago has one of the best public transit systems in the country and a compact, walkable downtown core. The city has two airports, O'Hare International to the northwest and the smaller Midway to the southwest, and both connect directly to downtown by train, which is a huge advantage. From O'Hare, the Blue Line train runs right from the terminal to downtown in about 45 minutes for just a few dollars, a fraction of a taxi or rideshare fare. From Midway, the Orange Line does the same job, carrying you into the loop quickly and cheaply, so there is rarely any reason to pay for an expensive airport car. Once downtown, the CTA runs the famous elevated trains known as the L, on 8 color-coded lines that loop around the center and fan out to the neighborhoods. As of the 2026 fares, a train ride is around $2.75, and a bus ride a bit less. All paid with a tap of a reloadable Ventra card. For visitors, the Smart Buy is a Ventra Day Pass, roughly $5 for a full day of unlimited rides, or about $20 for a week, which quickly pays for itself. The L trains and the extensive bus network together reach almost everywhere a visitor wants to go, from the museums to Wrigley Field to the neighborhoods, cheaply and reliably. Downtown itself, especially the Loop and the Magnificent Mile, is genuinely walkable, with major sites clustered close together and the scenic river walk connecting them along the water. Rideshare apps and taxis are everywhere and handy for a late night or a trip to an outlying neighborhood, though downtown traffic and surge pricing can make them pricey at peak times. You really do not need a rental car for a classic Chicago trip. And honestly, a car is a liability here thanks to expensive parking, congestion, and tricky winter driving. One local tip: the L is mostly safe and efficient, but like any big city transit, stay aware late at night and keep your phone secure on crowded platforms and trains. In the depths of winter, locals rely on the Pedway, a network of underground and covered walkways linking many downtown buildings. A genuine lifesaver for staying warm as you move between loop sites. The bottom line is simple. Take the train in from the airport, grab a Ventra pass, and use the L, the buses, and your own 2 feet to explore Chicago cheaply and easily. Now, the single most important decision of your trip: where to stay. Because in Chicago, the right neighborhood puts you within walking distance of the sights and the lakefront. For most first-time visitors, the Loop is the ideal base, the historic downtown core that sits right beside Millennium Park, the Art Institute, and the theaters, with unbeatable transit access. Just north across the river is River North, a lively area packed with restaurants, galleries, nightlife, and hotels, and an easy walk to both the Loop and the Magnificent Mile. The Magnificent Mile and Streeterville put you on the famous shopping stretch of Michigan Avenue, close to Navy Pier and the lake, ideal if you want upscale shopping at your doorstep. These 3 central areas, the Loop, River North, and the Mag Mile, are where most visitors should stay, offering safety, walkability, and quick access to nearly every major site. If you want a more local residential feel, Lincoln Park is a lovely, leafy, and very safe neighborhood just north, home to a free zoo, great restaurants, and lakefront paths. For a hipper, younger scene, Wicker Park and Bucktown offer independent shops, bars, and music venues. A cooler and more affordable alternative, a short train ride from downtown. Families often like the areas near the museum campus or Streeterville, keeping them close to Navy Pier, the aquarium, and the lakefront attractions that keep kids happy. Wherever you land, staying central saves you time, because while the neighborhoods are wonderful, basing yourself downtown means you can walk to the biggest sites and ride the L to the rest. Prices are highest in peak summer and around big conventions, so book early and consider that a downtown location often justifies its cost by cutting your transit time dramatically. When booking downtown, it is worth asking about a lake view versus a city view room, since a higher floor facing the water rewards you with unforgettable skyline and sunrise views. As always, read reviews about the specific location, because a great downtown block gives you the city at your feet, while a poorly placed hotel can add long daily commutes. The takeaway is to pick the Loop or River North for your first visit, and only venture to a neighborhood base if you want a quieter, more local Chicago experience. Now let us talk safety honestly, because Chicago has a rough national reputation that is largely unfair to the areas where tourists actually spend their time. Here is the crucial context. Chicago's crime is highly concentrated in specific South and West Side neighborhoods that are far from the downtown core and have no tourist attractions. The main visitor areas, the Loop, Millennium Park, the Magnificent Mile, River North, Lincoln Park, and the lakefront are well patrolled, busy, and very safe for ordinary travelers. The neighborhoods to simply avoid are on the far south and west sides. Places like Englewood, Garfield Park, and Austin, which you would have no reason to visit as a tourist anyway. In other words, if you stay in the central and north side areas we covered, you will likely never encounter the problems that make the headlines back home. The realistic risk for visitors is the usual big city petty crime, pickpocketing and theft, most common in crowded tourist spots, on packed trains, and around the shopping districts. So use normal precautions. Keep your wallet and phone secure. Do not leave bags unattended. And stay aware of your surroundings in busy areas and on late-night transit. At night, stick to the well-lit, busy downtown and north side areas, and take a ride share rather than walking through unfamiliar or empty neighborhoods after dark. Be a little extra careful late at night on the L, especially on quieter lines and platforms, where it is worth staying in the populated cars near other people. Car break-ins do happen, so if you do drive, never leave anything visible inside. Though, as we said, most visitors are far better off skipping the car entirely. Trust your instincts. And if a train line or a walk starts heading into an area that feels quiet and residential far from downtown, simply turn back toward the busy core. Handled with everyday street smarts, the vast majority of Chicago's tens of millions of annual visitors have a completely safe and wonderful time in the city. Bottom line, stay in the central and north side neighborhoods, use normal caution, and Chicago is a welcoming, world-class city that far exceeds its scary reputation. Let us talk money, because Chicago is a major city with major city prices, though it is often noticeably cheaper than New York or San Francisco for a similar experience. Hotels are the biggest expense and swing hard by season, with mid-range downtown rooms often running $200 to $350 a night in the busy summer months. The good news is that in the quiet, cold winter months from November through March, those same rooms can drop dramatically, making winter a real bargain for budget travelers. One thing to watch is Chicago's steep hotel tax, one of the highest in the country, which quietly adds a significant amount to your nightly rate at checkout. Food covers a huge range. You can grab a legendary Italian beef or a hot dog for well under $15, or splurge at one of the city's celebrated fine dining rooms. Budget around $15 to $25 for a casual meal, and expect a nice sit-down dinner with drinks to run $50 or more per person in a mid-range restaurant. Transit is a genuine bargain, with that Ventra day pass costing just a few dollars and covering all the trains and buses you can ride, keeping getting around costs very low. The big attractions add up, so consider a bundled sightseeing pass like City Pass if you plan to visit several of the Skydeck museums and cruises in a few days. Happily, many of Chicago's best experiences are free, from Millennium Park and the Bean to the Lakefront Trail, the Lincoln Park Zoo, and the free days at some museums. A money-saving tip is to check for free admission days at the major museums, which several offer to Illinois residents, and occasionally to all visitors on select dates through the year. For a rough estimate, a comfortable mid-range traveler should budget around $250 to $400 a day per person, including a hotel, meals, and an activity. Budget travelers using transit, eating at casual spots, and leaning on the free attractions can bring that down toward $150 a day, especially outside summer. And remember to factor in tipping of 18 to 20% at restaurants and that hefty hotel tax, so pad your budget for the final bills. Now for the question that matters enormously in Chicago, when to go, because this is a city of dramatic seasons, from glorious summers to famously brutal winters. The sweet spots are the shoulder seasons, late spring in May and June, and early fall in September and October, when the weather is pleasant and the crowds are thinner. Those months bring comfortable temperatures, blue skies over the lake, and the best balance of good weather, manageable prices, and easy access to the top sites. Summer, from June through August, is when Chicago truly comes alive, with warm weather, packed festivals, outdoor concerts, and the beaches and Riverwalk buzzing with life. The trade-off in summer is that it is peak season, so expect the highest hotel prices, the biggest crowds, and occasional hot, humid spells alongside all that energy. Chicago's summer festival calendar is legendary. From the huge Lollapalooza Music Festival to the Taste of Chicago and countless neighborhood street fests all season long. Then there is winter, and you need to respect it because from December through February, Chicago gets genuinely cold, with biting winds off the lake and real snow. That said, winter has its own magic, with holiday markets, ice skating in Millennium Park, sparkling lights on the Mag Mile, and the lowest hotel prices of the year. For food lovers, timing a visit around Chicago Restaurant Week in the winter lets you sample some of the city's top kitchens at fixed, discounted prices during the slow season. If you brave the winter, pack seriously warm layers, a windproof coat, hat, and gloves, because that famous wind can make the cold feel far more intense than the thermometer says. Spring can be beautiful but unpredictable, swinging between chilly and warm, while fall reliably delivers crisp air, golden colors, and some of the year's best weather. A smart tip, whatever the season is, to always bring a layer, because the lake keeps Chicago's weather changeable and a warm morning can turn breezy and cool by the water. So aim for late spring or early fall for the best all-around trip, come in summer for the festival energy, and only brave winter if you are ready for the cold. Now the fun part, the sights. Because for architecture, art, and skyline views, few American cities can match what Chicago packs into its compact downtown. Start at Millennium Park, home to Cloud Gate, the giant mirrored sculpture everyone calls the Bean, the single most photographed spot in the city, and it is completely free. Right beside it, the Art Institute of Chicago is one of the finest art museums in the world, with masterpieces from Monet and Van Gogh to the famous American Gothic. For that classic skyline thrill, ride up the Willis Tower to the Skydeck, where the glass ledge boxes let you stand suspended over the city more than 1,000 feet up. The other great view is 360 Chicago on the Magnificent Mile, with its tilting tilt platform, offering a different and equally stunning panorama over the lake and city. The absolute must-do, though, is an architecture river cruise, gliding along the Chicago River while a guide explains the skyscrapers, a genuinely world-class and unmissable experience. Navy Pier juts out into Lake Michigan with its Ferris wheel, rides, and boat tours. A lively, family-friendly spot that is especially fun on a warm summer evening. Just south, Grant Park is Chicago's grand front yard, home to the ornate Buckingham Fountain and wide-open lawns that host the city's biggest festivals and summer concerts. The museum campus grouping is a treasure, with the Field Museum's dinosaurs, the Shed Aquarium, and the Adler Planetarium all clustered on a lakefront point with skyline views. Baseball fans should catch a Cubs game at historic Wrigley Field, one of the oldest and most beloved ballparks in America, and experience as much about the atmosphere as the game. Do not miss simply walking the lakefront, whether along the Riverwalk downtown, or the miles of trail and beaches that give Chicago its surprising, breezy seaside feel. Shoppers and strollers love the magnificent Mile, the grand stretch of Michigan Avenue lined with flagship stores, historic landmarks, and the old water tower. The beauty of Chicago is that most of these highlights sit within a walkable downtown or a short L ride, so even a few days can feel remarkably full. One of the best things about Chicago is that it is a true city of neighborhoods, and venturing beyond downtown is where you find its real everyday character. Lincoln Park and Old Town, just north, offer leafy streets, historic homes, a free zoo, and a relaxed upscale vibe right along the lakefront trail. Wicker Park and Bucktown are the hip, creative heart of the city, packed with vintage shops, indie music venues, coffee roasters, and some of Chicago's best casual dining. Pilsen is a vibrant Mexican-American neighborhood, famous for its colorful street murals, authentic taquerias, and the excellent National Museum of Mexican Art, which is free. Chinatown, a short ride south of the Loop, is one of the more vibrant in the country, with fantastic dim sum, bakeries, and a lively Main Street worth an afternoon. Andersonville and Lakeview to the north bring charming, walkable strips of independent shops and restaurants, plus the Wrigleyville energy around the ballpark. Hyde Park on the south side is a safe, leafy exception well worth visiting, home to the University of Chicago and the superb Museum of Science and Industry. And do not overlook the lakefront itself, because in summer Chicago's beaches, like North Avenue Beach, turn the city into a surprising freshwater seaside resort. Getting to these neighborhoods is easy and cheap on the L, and each one gives you a completely different slice of the city than the downtown skyline. A great strategy is to spend your days on the downtown highlights and your evenings eating and wandering in one of these neighborhoods to see how locals really live. Even one afternoon spent in Pilsen, Wicker Park, or Chinatown will show you a warmer, more authentic Chicago than the tourist core alone ever could. So build at least one neighborhood outing into your plans, because the soul of Chicago lives in these communities as much as in its famous skyline. Let us talk about food and culture, because Chicago is one of the great eating cities in America, with a few iconic dishes you absolutely have to try. The most famous is deep dish pizza, a thick, cheesy casserole-like pie that is a must-try once, though be warned it is heavy and a single slice can be a full meal. Locals will also tell you to try tavern-style thin-crust pizza, cut into squares, which many Chicagoans actually eat more often than the famous deep dish version. Then there is the Chicago-style hot dog, dragged through the garden with peppers, onions, relish, and celery salt. And one firm local rule: never put ketchup on it. The Italian beef sandwich is another essential: thin sliced beef soaked in savory juice and piled on a roll, best ordered wet and dipped with hot giardiniera peppers. For a sweet treat, grab a bag of Garrett popcorn, especially the addictive mix of caramel and cheese that locals affectionately call the Chicago mix. On etiquette, tipping follows the American standard, so plan to add around 18 to 20% at sit-down restaurants and $1 or $2 for casual counter service. Chicagoans are famously friendly and down-to-earth in that Midwestern way, so a little politeness and small talk goes a long way and is genuinely appreciated. This is a passionate sports town, so expect deep loyalty to the Cubs, White Sox, Bears, and Bulls. And catching a game is a fantastic window into local culture. Chicago is also a proud arts and music city, the birthplace of house music and a legendary home of blues, jazz, and improv comedy at clubs like the famous Second City. The city also has a booming craft beer and brunch scene, so leave room to explore the breweries, coffee roasters, and cafes that anchor so many of its neighborhoods. Dress for the weather over fashion, especially in winter, and remember that layering is the local uniform thanks to the lake's ever-changing conditions. Embrace the local flavor. Eat an Italian beef standing up, catch some live blues, and you will taste the real, unpretentious soul of Chicago. Before we wrap up, let us cover the common mistakes first-time visitors make, because avoiding these few pitfalls will make your Chicago trip far smoother and more enjoyable. The single biggest mistake is underestimating the winter, arriving in a light jacket and freezing. So if you come in the cold months, pack serious layers and a windproof coat. Another is renting a car you do not need, then battling expensive parking, downtown congestion, and stress, when the L train and buses would serve you far better. Many visitors also spend their entire trip in the downtown core, missing the neighborhoods like Wicker Park, Pilsen, and the lakefront that reveal the real Chicago. On the food front, do not put ketchup on your hot dog in front of a local, and do not assume deep dish is the only pizza, since the thin tavern style is a local favorite too. Do not skip the Architecture River Cruise thinking it is just for tourists, because it is genuinely one of the best things to do in the entire city and shows off its skyline. Some travelers let the city's scary reputation keep them cooped up downtown, when in reality the central and north side areas are safe and endlessly worth exploring. Others try to cram too much in, racing between museums and towers, when Chicago rewards a slower pace with time to stroll the Riverwalk and linger over a great meal. Do not overlook the lakefront, because Chicago's beaches and miles of trail are a huge part of its charm, especially on a warm summer day. A practical miss is not getting a Ventra pass, then overpaying for individual rides or ride shares when a cheap day pass covers all the transit you need. And do not be intimidated by the L, because figuring out the simple color-coded lines opens up the whole city cheaply and is part of the authentic Chicago experience. And do not judge Chicago by winter alone or by its headlines, because in the right season and the right neighborhoods, it is one of America's most rewarding cities. Avoid these handful of mistakes. Dress for the weather, ride the L, get into the neighborhoods and slow down, and Chicago will absolutely win you over. Get those basics right, and Chicago will reward you with stunning architecture, incredible food, and a big-shouldered, big-hearted energy unlike anywhere else in America. So who is Chicago really best for? The answer is a wide range of travelers, because few cities combine world-class culture, food, and architecture with such genuine friendliness. It is a dream for architecture and design lovers. From the skyscrapers that invented the modern skyline to the unmissable river cruise that shows them all off. It is a paradise for food lovers, with everything from deep dish and Italian beef to some of the best fine dining in the country, all within easy reach. Families do wonderfully here, thanks to Navy Pier, the aquarium and museums, the free zoo, and the lakefront beaches that give kids endless things to enjoy. Culture seekers get world-class museums, theater, comedy, blues, and jazz, while sports fans can soak up the electric atmosphere at Wrigley Field and beyond. Whoever you are, come with layers, comfortable shoes, and an appetite, and Chicago will give you one of the most underrated great city trips in America. That is everything you need to know before visiting Chicago in 2026. From choosing the right neighborhood to packing for the weather and knowing what to skip. Which part of the trip are you most excited for? The architecture, the museums, or the deep dish pizza? Tell us in the comments below. If this guide helped you plan your trip, please like and subscribe for more honest, in-depth travel guides from our small channel. Thank you for watching, and aloha from Kahana Designs. Until next time, safe travels and sweet dreams.